Hey, what's up? So today I got a little bit of work to do around the house, and I'm fixing the kitchen sink. And I noticed that in recent years, the way that they make kitchen faucets has kind of changed. And the first time I ever changed one of these out for somebody, it kind of whooped my ass for a second until I realized what you had to do. So I thought it'd be good to make a video about this to show some of y'all, it's probably gonna have to spend a lot of money on a plumber, or if you're a grown ass man and you don't know how to do simple things like change out a faucet in the kitchen or a bathroom sink, then maybe you can watch this and learn a little bit about how to do this kind of stuff. So as you can see, this faucet right here, when you turn it on, water is leaking from this part, and that's creating all kind of problems, right? Of course. So, been doing this right here, especially waiting to when I get back from the Arnold so I could get this thing fixed. A whole lot of water come down under the sink from that. So now today is the day to get it fixed. So I'm gonna show you a little bit about how some of these faucets are connected. So the first part, and probably the hardest part, is getting down under the sink. That's why I got my fancy light. Now you can see that it used to be where there would be a bunch of bolts, plastic bolts, sometimes metal, and you can hand tighten them. That's what these holes here are for. Some of them are for the pipes, some of them are for the bolts. But actually they changed it now, and you just got this one nut right here. And it is damn near impossible to put any kind of wrench up in there to be able to turn that, right? So you won't be able to get it off. And if you can't get that off, you can't get the faucet off. So what I realized is these sinks have to come off in order for you to do that. Well, what do? Sinks are bolted to the cabinet with these. And usually it's about 4. One on the side right here. And then, let's see, there's a little drawer right here you gotta move. One right there, then another one on the other side, and then it's another one right here on this side. So that just take a Phillips screwdriver. Once you screw those out, then you can lift the sink up. The bad part is, of course, when you do lift the sink up, you got to unscrew these pipes at some connection point to be able to lift the sink up, all right? Or you're gonna damage the pipes. So we do all of that, lift the sink up, and then we can disconnect or unscrew that nut right there to be able to take the damn faucet off. You got to do all of that shit just to replace the faucet. So anyway, I'm gonna show y'all. All you really got to do with these is just loosen them up. Once you get them loose, you don't have to take them all the way out. And once they get loose, then you'll be able to move it. Just got to be real patient. Take your time. It's a long ass screw. So, in some cases, you don't have to take these screws all the way out. You can just loosen them up enough to be able to do it. The best way I found to get this work done is just lay on your back up under the sink. And this is how a lot of old school porn movies used to start out. The plumber be working up under the sink. So if your old lady come through trying to start some shit, you tell her to wait till you get finished. Now, usually, from what I've seen, it's only gonna be about 4 of these. I've seen 6 in some cases, but usually it's 2 on the front side of the sink and then 2 on the side. And these motherfuckers can be aggravating to get to. So I just took the last one loose, and I noticed how it was made. Now you got these made 7 different ways, but these on this sink is 2 parts. You got this part that's bolted onto the sink, and then you got the clamp that connects to the wood frame on the cabinet. And this clamp right here just hangs on that bracket right there. So once you get it loose, enough, you can actually just unhook it. Only thing is, sometimes it might end up being a bitch to be able to get it back on there. But it all depends on how easy or hard the sink comes out. So what I'm gonna do is just take them loose and see, it's a better one I can show you. Take it loose like that, see how it come off? And I'll take them out if it's necessary to get the sink out. But if it's not necessary to take that clamp off, I'm not, because otherwise, like I said, it's real difficult to hook them back on that clamp again. All right, so now I got all the clamps off, and notice I can raise the sink. Let's see how I can show you. The sink actually moves around real easy, but the problem is when I move it, hold on, I'm trying to be still and do this. When I move it, it puts stress on these pipes. So you got to figure out where you want to disconnect these pipes at in order to be able to lift the sink up without creating no problem up under here. So now we could go a few different ways. Either we could take both of these off here on both sides, or we can just break one connection like here or right here. That way, you know, to hold everything up above it comes up just by, you know, taking this one connection loose. You don't want to do too much, because I'm telling you, man, with plumbing, when you got some damn loose wires and shit, loose pipes, it can become a nightmare for you to get everything back tight to where you ain't got no leaks anywhere. So anyway, I'm going to choose to take this one loose. One good thing that I think you should do whenever you take your plumbing stuff loose under your sink, take a look for any clogs, any kind of stuff that the kids might have put under the sink and shit like that. Or put in the drain, you know, because sometimes, man, I found chopsticks, pencils, popsicle sticks, all kind of stuff that can create problems later. So when you get this off, just take a look, because this trap right here is designed to catch it. You know, these right here too sometimes can catch stuff, or either this connection here. So just take a look and see if you see anything that might create a problem for later. Well, how do you get this off? Usually with all the plastic piping now, these things are made to be hand tightened. So you can, when you put them on, you tighten them up by hand. You don't need to damn act like you the Incredible Hulk, and you know, you don't need to use no wrench or nothing to make them super tight, thinking that you're gonna keep it from leaking, because all you're gonna do is stress the pipe out. So anyway, you just I think is counterclockwise. Get it off like this, and then as we lift the pipe up, you know, then as we lift the sink up, we pull the pipe down, and then it starts to come up. It starts to come disconnected like that. So like I said, you got to find your own way to try to get this loose, whatever you think gonna be the best, what you think gonna be the easiest for you to reconnect. But for me, I'm gonna try this spot right here. So I took this connection loose. What I had to do was slightly loosen this one so that I could turn it. These are designed to be longer than the connection, so it goes all the way down into this edge right here. So, and you want that to create a good seal. But anyway, I had to play with this one to be able to get it loose enough to, you know, make the movement to be able to get it off. So now we got that up. Now we'll be able to push the sink up high enough to take the nut off of the faucet on the back side. Okay, as you can see, the sink moves pretty freely. Now, although you don't want to try to move too much shit, because, you know, you still got some stuff connected up under here, so you got to be careful with that. All we really want to do is raise it up enough. See, raise it up enough to where you can take that bolt loose on the back. Now that we got the sink loose, all you got to do now is, only when necessary, you start taking some of these pipes loose. So for example, I'm going to have to go ahead and take this loose, and I'm going to have to take this one loose because those are part of the old faucet, so they all got to come out. I was hoping that I would be able to take the faucet loose before I did this, because I would like to keep them on there until I'm ready to replace them. But what I'm gonna have to do is take them all the way off, take the sink all the way out, in order to be able to unbolt it because of the way that it's positioned. And again, I don't want to lift it up too high to create too much stress on these pipes and possibly mess up the plumbing. Now, and by any means, or by no means am I saying that I'm a pro, right? So, you know, some people that are pro plumbers, you know, or done did that kind of work before, they might, you know, have some critiques for how I'm doing this, which is cool because we all just trying to learn. Anyway, taking a basic pair of pliers and starting to get this off. Now, as you can see, water coming out, right? This is a service line coming in. So what you got to do is you got to make sure you got that turned off. Okay, I wanted to show y'all that. And it's the same thing on the other side. So as long as you got your service line cut off, you know, you should be good. A professional probably would have turned the service line off before he started, right? But again, I want you to see that in case you make a mistake, you'll know what to do. And there's one. Remember, now we know, turn the service line off, right? So get up here, turn it off. Now, you still need to go ahead and turn this thing slow because sometimes service lines ain't been turned on 100%, right? So when you turning what you consider off, you could actually be turning it all the way wide open, you know? So when you take this off, make sure you do it slow and pay attention to see if any water start coming out, you know, more than normal. You know, you get a few drips, that's fine. But if it start pouring out, then you know, uh-oh, service line, I actually opened it instead of closing it. So service line closed, and we good. Now we'll be able to lift the sink all the way up out of there. All right. Now that we got that part, you can see that this is the nut that we got to take off. All right, so we need a real big size channel lock or a large wrench or a large adjustable wrench to take this off. So we got 3 different kind of wrenches here. We got a big ass adjustable wrench. A lot of people call this a monkey wrench, old people. I don't know if that's a derogatory statement now or not. And then you got a pair of channel locks. And basically, you know, you can use whichever one you feel is going to be more comfortable for you to get the job done. Maybe one of them slip, one of them is hard to keep a grip on or whatever. So just try different ones until you get something to feel comfortable. Me, I'm going to try the channel locks first. So with these channel locks, as you can see, this is how they operate. So I just pretty much try to find the best which probably all the way open or close to it, is going to be the best. Okay, and yeah, it's a personal preference, and a lot of times how much grip strength you got, stuff like that. But anyway, you got to turn this clockwise. Okay, see that? And turn it clockwise. Once you get it loose, then you're good. A lot of times these things, they loosen over time. I would advise you to hand tighten this, but not make it super tight as well, because it could put some stress on the faucet. But you do want it to be tight, because like when your kids and stuff like that turn your faucet on and off, they could be a little bit aggressive with it, because they ain't really thinking about maintenance or taking care of that. They just using it. So a lot of people snatching on your faucet, switching the faucet from one side of the sink to the other, turning the knob on and off. That can actually loosen this up. So if you make it, you know, nice and tight, then you won't have to ever worry about getting up under here and having to re-tighten this, because guess what? When you need to tighten this back up, you got to take the whole sink out, take the plumbing loose and everything, just to tighten it up 1 or 2 turns. So, but once again, some people like to just hand tighten it to not put too much stress on the faucet, and some people prefer to tighten that bitch all the way down. But anyway, long ass thread, but we get all of this all the way out. Now, there's a connection here for the thing, you know, the sprayer. The sprayer got a weight on it. That's because it's retractable. So when you pull it out, the spray, and then you let it go, it suck itself back up because of this weight right here. But with that, you got a connection here that you can use to take the weight on and off with. Because I'm not going, as you can see, I'm not going to be able to take this nut out until I take this connection loose, right? So you got to get that connection out. Some of them made different, but I think if you can just mess around with it enough to get it figured out. Some of them you can take loose from right here. It's hard for me to show you. Some of them you can take loose from down here. Some of them you can take loose from a plastic connection up here. So we're gonna mess around with it till we figure out which way is right. Okay, so here's what I figured out. This screws off. I'm gonna try to keep it focused so you can see. This particular one, it unscrews. So, boom. See that? Simple. With this one is connected to the weight. Because remember, this is your sprayer. Sprayer got the weight because it's retractable. So, all you gotta do, you don't need the weight. Now, you can slowly start to pull all of these pipes out one at a time from this nut. And then the last thing you take the nut off of this part, since it's the thickest. So the rest of them you pull out one at a time, and then you get that one out last. So I decided I'm gonna break off the one with this tube. Simplest one, least amount of damage. Instead of cutting all 3, I could just cut this one. Or instead of cutting these 2, I can just cut this one. So closest thing I got is a Gerber tool. Any type of wire cutter that's big enough to get around it, that's enough to do it. Shit, you could even use a knife if you wanted to. All right, it's off. Now, this is the part that I want to be able to show you. Take the damn nut off of the pipes. Come right off. Now, the sink comes out, or the faucet comes out. And that's it. Now, whenever you get the faucet off, depending on what you got here, it's a good idea to clean this off. right? Because sometimes a lot of corrosion can be here, and depending on who the plumber was, they even can damn put silicone in there, glue, all kind of shit, right? And when you put your new faucet on top of that, that actually can create a problem for sealing it up. Even though this faucet going on here, it don't need to be sealed from water. You want it to be nice and tight up against the faucet. Up against the sink. So make sure you clean off any shit that you have. Luckily, whoever put this on, they didn't do a bad job, so it's all right. Make sure you got that surface nice and clean before you put the faucet on. Now, this is the new clamp. This is what's gonna go on there. Simple. This is the new faucet. Still got that long ass thing on it, but as you can see, the connection is different. The connection damn near always gonna be different, because in a few years they'll probably change it again. In this sink, got my weight. See the damn, this is the long ass wire for the sprayer. Okay. So anyway, I ain't gonna get into details about this because your faucet might be different. And this is an installation tool that you're supposed to use or can use to tighten up anything. But from what I could tell, I'm not 100% sure that that's gonna tighten up all the stuff that we got going on up under there. But we'll see. All right, so this is kind of hard to do because I only got one hand, and I ain't no master, so I ain't got no GoPro and all that bullshit. But so just bear with me. Now we got to fit all this stuff through here. But now the part I really want to show you is how on this one there is no big bolt no more. Okay, from the material I see, what you're gonna have is a washer. Hold on. You're gonna have a washer that fit over the whole thing, and then a bolt is only gonna be big enough to cover this. So whereas before we had that big ass bolt, I guarantee you, from the time they manufactured that style to now, they realized how annoying it was for people to have to take their sinks off. So now they got a new way to do it. So, and if you look at it, this installation tool is just the right size. So what that means is, when we ready to take this off, when it go bad, you won't have to take the whole sink off to do this one, because you can just reach this tool up there, take that one bolt off, and the whole thing will come up. Whereas the last sink we had to take the whole shit out because somebody thought that was going to be a great idea. And as soon as they probably manufactured and people was buying them, they started talking shit. And so now everybody was like, man, we got to come up with another way. So this is the new way. All right, now there's a little rubber gasket right here that's got to go on there, on that part. So basically, I'm just fishing it around here. It don't matter when you put it on, for the most part, as long as you make sure you get it in the right spot. I probably could have put this on before I fished everything else through the hole, but it probably would have fell off. So see, I got it on there, nice and tight. Now there was like a little groove for it to fit on. I just noticed that on the instructions. But the point I wanted to bring up is, if you got some shit that you find in the box and you ain't exactly sure where it go, don't damn be like, I don't need that. Find out where it's supposed to go, put it on there anyway, just to be safe, right? So I got all this like it should be. Now get everything in here. Once again now, hey, watch how I do this shit with one hand. See, fellas, you gotta know how to lay pipe. Look at that shit. You really gotta know how to lay pipe. to be able to get that in the hole with no hands. Look at that shit. No hands. Alright, we got the new joint in there. You got a little bit of stuff to mess around with to make sure you got it seated right. But once you do all of that, look, we got 3 pieces. We got this, and we got these 2 nuts in the box, and then this is our installation piece. So the truth is, you can pretty much, because it's such different sizes, you can mess around with this stuff, figure out what's what. The way this one works is that hole is for this thread, this bolt thread right here, and then that empty space on the top, that's for your wires. Going there like that. Now, all I really got to do, I ain't got to be too smart to put this on and see if it fit perfect, because between this one and the other one, if one of them fit and the other one don't, then you know you're right. Now, just to show you how to use insulation, what is it? It's basically a fucking wrench, okay? Simple. So you can use that to turn it on there if you want to, or you can use your hand. What that insulation tool is made for is if the sink is still mounted and you're reaching from up under the sink down at the bottom like how we had to do at the beginning. Because in that case, then you need that insulation tool to be able to reach way up in there. Okay? Now in this case, we're going to try to make this thing pretty tight because we don't want this sink to get too loose. So I'm going to go back to my, probably use my channel lock. See how that works. Nah, channel locks don't fit up in there too comfortably. So watch this. See the hole right there? Both sides. This your installation tool. That's the wrench I just gave you. Get that in there. Tighten it up. And then, so look, you got these holes, right? Get that on there. And then get you a screwdriver or something. You put that in your hole and you use that to turn it and make it snug. Hand tight. You don't want it too tight. Like I said, it can put too much stress on your plumbing parts. Too much stress on your plumbing parts. You don't want too much stress on your plumbing parts. Alright, now this last piece is something that the book called a hose protector. And basically what that's supposed to do is that goes on here to protect the hoses from getting cut by that thread. That's what I imagine. So gotta find the right way to put it on. Sorry, I keep moving the camera. And that's it. It's that simple. Also, there's going to be a hose coming out of here from the sprayer. And so I imagine that make this a smooth area. So when you pulling that that sprayer in and out, it's not going to get rubbed and possibly broken eventually from that sharp edge on this thread. So this right here make it smooth entry, smooth exit. Now, this is your sprayer hose. And so you got 2 parts here. This part of the sprayer is going to connect to this. And then this part of the sprayer right here, sorry, this part is going to connect to this. So basically take this off. I'm doing this shit with one hand. easy. Hold on. It's coming. So, see that? That connects to here, okay? So what you gotta do first, well, it really don't matter which one you decide to do first, but this part gotta go in from here. And keep pushing, come out. And then put all your damn excess down. You gotta get your weight on here, and then it pushes up in there. And it's a seal, okay? So let me get the weight. So here's the weight. Now, this shit is, doing this with one hand is hard, man, because, you know, I could have been finished with this shit by now if I wasn't trying to make this video. But anyway, got the weight on. Make sure my line ain't tangled up. Get that pushed up in there. Let me try to put the camera down. Now, this piece, I got my two hands so I can show you. This piece right here goes up into there, okay? Be careful though, because this shit tricked me. This part right here is actually just like a protector piece for right now. So, let me see if I can show you. Let me see. Anyway, gotta take this off. Simple, right? Then lock in, okay? There's a thing on the side, like a locking mechanism that you push if you ever need to take it out. Press that button, you can take it out. But that's it. Okay, now that we got the sprayer line in, now basically we gotta take this, connect it here. And from what I could tell, it just screws in, okay? Now, as you can see, here I am again, trying to use one damn hand. Watch this, I'm gonna try to hold this motherfucker so you can see. Come on, focus. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that look. All right, that's it. Now I'm gonna sit the camera down and tighten it up with my hand. Okay, so I got it now. Got it on tight. You might actually want to put a channel lock on this and tighten it down just enough. Not too tight, you know, but make sure you got it real tight so you don't create no leak in there. And then that's it. Check it, make sure it seat good, make sure it fit good. We're good with this part. Now, all we got to do is put the sink back down and tighten up all the hoses first, or the plumbing. We can either do the plumbing or the hoses, but we're gonna put everything back in reverse order. And then last thing we'll do is cut the water on. Hey, you ain't a damn man if you ain't got no headlight. You gotta have a fucking headlight if you're gonna be a grown man. Never know what you might need to do. So, get my little tools ready. Get down here and get this job done. Well, got a cramp in my stomach. So I'm laying down for a second. Let this cramp get out. All right, cramp is gone. We continue working. First thing first, identify the hot water line. Look here, simple. What do this say? Hot side. Hot side is usually on the left, okay? So that's the one you connect first. Well, you don't have to connect it first, but you gotta make sure you got the shit connected right, okay? Because you don't want to be trying to run hot water and then you're running cold water. So, as you can see, just reconnect this hand tighten it, go to the other side. Of course, this has to be the cold side if the other side was hot. Now, the truth of the matter is, when you test this out later, if you turn it to the hot and it don't work, and it's just cold water, then hell, get up under here and switch it out, right? Simple. Once we got these on, we use our little small wrench, tighten the shit down. But I wouldn't say we should go ahead and turn the water back on yet. But I will say these need to be tight. So, wrench tighten these connections real good, because where the pipes connect to the service line is a weak spot. Make sure you got them right. Now, for this, we got to do a reverse connection. So, got a little bit of play in this pipe. All we simply do, come down on one side, lift up on the other, sandwich it in there. I'm sorry, I can't hold this right. Don't talk at the same time. Sandwich it in there. Like I say, there's some play in this pipe now, so till you get it seated right and push it up all the way. Damn it, let me hold this. Like that. That's where you want it, as far as you can get it up. And then hand tighten. I call them collars. I don't know what the name of them is for real. Hand tighten this side. And hand tighten this side. Now, I say hand tighten, but I'm going to tell you, when you test it, when you run water down the drain and stuff, you come back and you look for any leaks. And then my word is you only tighten it up as much as you need to make sure you ain't got no leaks. You don't want to over tighten nothing, because when you over tighten shit, you're going to create a problem for later. So make sure you got all your stuff tight. Make sure everything seems secure. But then, like I said, run your water, test your lines out, and once you do your test, then you can see kind of what you're working with. Now we got the water lines connected. So one more thing we gotta not forget to do. Make sure this weight is sitting in a place that's not gonna get tangled up. Sometimes they might get crossed up in there, and so whenever you try to push this back, it don't work. So make sure you got that. Now, once you know you got that, now we can turn the water on. Turn on the cold side. Look for any leaks. I got the water turned on. No dripping mean no leak. Hot side. So I ain't even gonna test it without recording, because I trust my craftsmanship. All right, so here we go. Hot side. Bam. And cold side. Bam. Shit working, right? Check the sprayer out. Turn the switch. Work. Now we gotta check both sides of the drain. Make sure we ain't got no dripping going on from the water that's coming down the drain. Still ain't got no drips. So now we can start putting our clamp back on. So I know you remember these, right? This part is probably gonna be a bit aggravating, but here we go. Especially when I got to do it with one hand for y'all. So anyway, I'll let y'all on the other side when I get finished with this shit. Putting the clamps back on. All right, got them hung up in there. And I ain't gonna lie, it actually takes two hands to damn hang it right. So no way I could have did that while holding the camera. down pretty good. Over on the other side, we got this one. Same stuff. So all we're gonna do now is get these tightened back up where they was. Just like we did when we took it off. But you want these screws, it's important for them to be tight because that's what's gonna hold the sink in place. So you need them to be tight. All right, now that we got everything done, I want to come up here, test everything out one more time. Be sure it's working. And maybe give your sink a little tug. Now, the truth is, if you put a lot of power behind it, you might be able to move it a little bit. But you want it to be pretty firm to where you can't move it. Also with this, again, you want that to be firm too, but you want that to be smooth. You need this to be smooth. This is smooth, that's smooth, this is firm, that's firm, then your job is finished. So that's it. Took about maybe an hour to do that. We finished, but save you a lot of money because you don't have to call no plumber, and you learn how to take care of your own shit too. So anyway, that's it. How to put on a faucet or replace a faucet by yourself. Cedric McMillan. Red card. One more thing, as you begin to put your tools and stuff up and clean up, make sure you keep whatever installation tool came with it, if it came with one, because if there's a problem with that sink, with that faucet, you can use this to take it off without having to take the whole sink out. And you never know, the replacement faucet that you buy, it might have a different size bolt, right? So make sure you keep that somewhere in case you need it. So now I've got to get all these extra parts and shit. Throw that away. But one more thing I wanted to say before I finish. See, y'all little young ass boys or old ass boys, punk ass boys, y'all know how to work out and shit. You know how to put on tight clothes, but you don't know how to do no damn work. So maybe you do some shit like this around the house, fix the sink or something, and you might get some ass.